Hey guys, this is Morgan from Some Say I'm Gifted. Before we begin today's episode, we want to provide a content warning. This episode contains discussion of sensitive and potentially distressing topics, including detailed descriptions of sexual violence. Listeners' discretion is advised, and we encourage you to take care of your emotional well-being. If you find this content triggering, please consider skipping this episode. Thank you for listening, and take care of yourself. Welcome to Some Say I'm Gifted, where we teach you the magic of walking in your spiritual gifts and how it can help you navigate this crazy life, and helping you understand that even though we're in this world, we are not of it. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get real.
Hey y'all,
Hey guys!
Hello, everyone.
this is Tess from Some Say I'm Gifted, and those other two voices were not the voices in my head, but Morgan and Danielle.
Woohoo!
Actually, they are the voices. I'm just playing. Okay, so we have a question, guys, and the question for today is, what is your favorite superhero? Da-da-da-da-da. That was my drum roll.
Da-da-da-da. My favorite superhero is Xena Warrior Princess.
It does not surprise me a bit. I mean, it really, I know that we know this, but like, it doesn't shock me. You have that very earthy vibe about you.
Yeah, a Renaissance-y, like
Yeah.
medieval times type of thing.
Oh.
I grew up watching Xena as a kid, and like she's just a
In medieval
badass.
times?
Hey,
I feel like that really does fit you, Morgan, for sure.
thank
Yeah.
you. What about you, Danielle?
Mine's Captain America.
Ooh.
I don't know if that was a gimme or not, guys, but
To me, it was.
yeah, you guys know me so well. But I watched Winter Soldier in theaters one time, and I was like, this is going to be my favorite superhero now. He is great to look at, but also love his superpowers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my favorite. Tess, what is yours?
I have a superhero and villain.
Okay.
The villain is Loki because he has a daughter named Tess. Okay, there's Loki. But he's cool too. I love Loki.
He's pretty cool.
He's kind of a good bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You kind of feel for him.
Yeah. Okay, my superhero. I love Batman, old school Batman. But I really love Iron Man and Doctor Strange. And what are they, ladies? Narcissistic assholes. But they overcame things. And that's what's so important because that's what makes you a superhero. So does Batman. Batman overcame things. He lost
Oh my
his parents.
gosh, yeah.
You know, so that's what makes you a superhero. I'm going to quote Cat Williams here because this is really what hit me upside the head and gave me this idea for this podcast. But Cat Williams says, it's the crap in life that is thrown at you that you overcome that makes you a superhero. So everybody has stuff, like anything from losing your favorite pet, which is horrible, or, you know, a parent getting cancer, or you getting cancer, or, you know, a car wreck, or death.
Them not giving you spicy nuggets when you ask for spicy and giving you regular instead.
That
the
could be a
worst.
bad one. Somebody stealing your car, somebody breaking your heart.
So what you're saying is things that are out of your control happen to you, and it's how you get out of it that makes you a superhero.
Yes, not you didn't because them.
Yeah.
And I know Morgan's not crazy about that sentence, but if you put it in that form, it makes your brain rethink the question, and then your brain's thinking about the question, right? So I want to ask you, ladies, I'm going to talk about one of mine first, and then I'm going to give you guys the floor. I want to hear what y'all have to say, and I'll end it with
Another one
Bang.
of yours.
a big bang.
A big bang. Yes.
And pardon my dark humor, but this is how I was taught to get through life, and laughter is healing. So I'm just throwing that out there. Please know that we're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you. And yes, with you only. Okay. So when I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with leukemia in 1990, which was not, good. It's not good now, but they didn't have treatment. It was really hard, and it altered my whole life. And it made me have this very rebellious spirit. And, but it made me a fighter on every level. So it was hard, but I'm here now. And I'll be 40 this year.
Woo!
And I was never supposed to have kids, and I've got two beautiful giant babies. They're humongous. One's like 6 foot something, and the other one's not far behind. So
And they're only just now teenagers.
yeah, my youngest will be 13 in a few days.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But amazing.
Yeah. So I'm very thankful for everything I've gone through my life. I don't have any regrets. I would have been who I was. Not that I caused any of these things, right? I didn't make any of these situations happen, but some of the things that have happened in my life, I did have, I had a little bit more control of, But so I'm gonna. Which lady would like to go first?
I don't mind going first.
Okay, let's hear it, girl.
Yes. So something that caused to me was.
Ooh, look at her using it.
Yeah, you're using your word for you. When I was 13, I was homeschooled and I spent a lot of time with my mom, and I had a great childhood up until 13. And my mom was in a bad horse accident and had a neck injury and became bedridden. She couldn't do hardly anything. I had to take care of her, and I stepped into a caretaking role for her. And
That is so hard.
yeah, for my whole family, or not whole family, it was just me and my mom and dad, but I became my own educator because I was homeschooled, so I had to take care of my own education. I had to take care of my mom, and I had to keep up with the household, doing the household chores to keep my dad able to go to work and provide.
Yeah.
Wow.
But your dad, I think it's important to say this, your dad owned a business. Mm-hmm. So in a way, you were taking care of more people because you were helping your dad here and there with the business too.
Yeah.
The way your mother would have.
Yeah.
Right.
And being involved in things. And you were 13.
Yes.
So it not only stopped your childhood and teenage years, but it gave you some baggage that you can, and it's our choice when we get baggage like this, because it's gifted to us. Okay, we're going to say it that way. What do we do with that baggage? Sometimes we can bring it into a relationship, right?
Absolutely. And that's kind of what I did. But
So if you had a second big monster trauma you dealt with, it would probably be that long-term relationship.
yeah, it wasn't great. I got myself a boyfriend who wasn't really capable of taking care of himself, and I decided that I would take care of him for him.
Well, I'm not going to correct you. I just think that he was capable, but he wasn't going to stop you.
Yeah.
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 And that's something you said.
Yes.
Like that's so important
Yes.
for you.
Yeah, it was like he could have taken care of himself, but I was like, oh, just let me take care of it. I'll take care of you. And nobody's going to turn that down. But I had to grow as a person and stop myself and say, no, it's not your responsibility to take care of other people. And you have to take care of yourself. I still struggle with, stopping myself to from taking care of other people. But I've grown a lot, and now I'm better.
But it's still something just like everything we're going to talk about, we struggle with a little bit today. It's not struggle, but it's there.
Yeah.
Like it's a scar, it's a wound, it healed, but we have the scar from it. And I think that's the best. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are both really intense things. I mean, because it alters your whole mind. Mm-hmm. And 13 is such an age where your brain and your personality is forming that it's hard to not be a parent.
Right.
For the rest of your life.
So was there anything in particular that made you recognize that you needed to overcome being a caretaker and stepping into that caretaker role?
I think that we talked about this on another podcast. What do you want? And I struggled with that a lot as a teenager. I never knew what I wanted to be. And I think part of that was that I saw myself taking care of my mom for the rest of my life. Like you didn't know what else I was going to do. And you just I had to realize that I couldn't do that forever. And I needed to figure out what I wanted. And I didn't want to be taking care of her for the rest of my life. So,
but that's huge. That's huge to overcome that. And I think that people need to understand that it doesn't matter what it is. We can't compare the weight of trauma that we've been through. Everything is valid, and for everyone it's different,
Yeah. Like, I've known people that their family have dealt with cancer, and that's all, like, they can't they can't move past it. You know what I mean? That's fine. If you can't, I'm not shame on you. It's just like, I don't know. I think it's because God put it on my heart at a young age that I was going to have a lot of things to deal with. So I was like, okay, that didn't get me. Let's keep going, So, and I do think it has a lot to do with your environment and what you want from things in your life. I mean, I know, Morgan, that relationship you had with that fella if you wouldn't have been open-minded enough, you would still be in it.
yes.
Because it was consuming you.
Yeah.
and your time and your life and your health and your brain. It was a lot. Wouldn't you agree, Danielle?
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was a lot.
Yeah. It was basically like you couldn't be your own person, I feel like, in that relationship. Like you couldn't spread your wings and grow in all ways. Your business.
I just had a huge, heavy anchor
Yeah.
weighing me down.
Basically.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, anchor's a great word for it.
We do.
Dirty
love
butt pirate. Okay.
Yeah.
Miss
Literally.
Danielle.
Yeah. So I can relate to the caretaker
Yeah.
thing for sure. Because I think the first thing that happened to me was I went to kindergarten, which is like a lot of kids do that. They go to
Yeah,
kindergarten.
you sound like my kids. Okay, continue.
But yeah, so going to kindergarten was hard because I had an unhealthy attachment to my mom, and I felt like leaving her was crippling her in a sense, where I needed to just be with her 24/7 in order to make sure she was okay and to make sure I was okay. So leaving her for a set amount of hours at a time was super difficult and led to not being able to really put my all into going to school because I constantly felt this weight of needing to be there for someone and be that constant support for them.
So wait a minute. You are Morgan's an only child. Well, she has a brother, but he was much older. Mm-hmm. But you have a sister that's younger than you.
I do, yeah, 2.5 years younger. So she was
She was
around.
there.
Yeah.
And when you went to kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my mom and I had this attachment that, in in understanding now what I know, I feel like it had a lot to do with postpartum, which
Yeah.
a lot of women deal with.
Yeah.
And if it goes untreated,
They can deal with it till they die.
absolutely. And I think that's what caused the unhealthy codependency
Yeah.
between us.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you would think, and not to change the story, but you would think that postpartum would go away with menopause, and it doesn't. Did you know that?
No.
I did
Yeah.
not.
Wow.
Talk about a kick in the...
Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first big thing. And then I would say later on in my life, from the time I was 11, I knew I wanted to be a marine biologist and I wanted to study marine biology. And I spent a lot of time and research and effort into getting myself to a place where I was going to be set up to go to college and get my bachelor's degree in marine biology. And I graduated and didn't realize that in order to become a marine biologist, there were so many other things I would have to do in order to get an established career and start making money in this thing that I had chose to do from such a young age.
So they didn't tell you?
They did not tell me. No. So
Wow.
yeah, I really was unprepared.
So there's not a lot of marine biologists like jobs.
It's not that there's not a lot of marine biologist jobs. It's that those jobs come with a lot of tenure. And
They're kind of gate kept.
yes,
That's the
yeah,
crap.
absolutely, like gatekeeping. And there's already a next person in line for the
Cracker
position.
Jacks. That sucks.
Yeah, it does. So it was a big reality punch for sure.
But you overcame that. You rerouted, so to speak.
Correct. I found another way.
But that and the caretaker thing I get because like when I had cancer for whatever reason, even though I had cancer, I was going through chemo. I thought I was brought to this earth to take care of my mom. Okay, which is bonkers, and very opposite. Like your mom had a situation, so you became her caretaker, and that's something me and Morgan bonded on when we first met. We both saw us taking care of our mother, and not the same person. Well, yeah, sometimes. Same person. So I get that, but when you have that caretaker thing, you have the want to seek people's approval at that point. You all realize that the caretaker mentality makes you want to seek people's approval. Does that make sense?
Feel like you need validation constantly.
Validation.
Yeah.
Constantly, which I don't know if y'all know this, narcissistic traits can make you have that too. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting.
Yeah. Like they say narcissists always need validation.
Well, if somebody depends on me and I feel good on that.
I did not feel good that my mother
No, I'm
depended
not
on me.
saying I do. I'm saying that's how narcissists
yeah,
feel.
yes,
Like
yes,
so,
yeah.
if they need me. Like
Yeah.
that feels good to them.
Yes, but when you're not, and you're in that caretaker mindset at a young age, especially, you seek approval and validation from people. So it's a different. You want to go over the top. You want to be that helpful person. Then the rejection you got from the that just double whammies you and puts you in a really unfun sandwich.
Yeah. And it sucks because there's these outside physical circumstances that caused it, right?
Yeah.
That were out of my control.
Yeah.
And I know, Tess, you can relate to this, that there are things that are definitely that happen that were out of your control.
Yes. Yes, Danielle. Of course, I've had a lot of things I've had to overcome. We just talked about it. And if you're asking me what I overcame,
Yes.
pick a card. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to be like, all right, I've overcome a lot. Only through Christ, because I, as a lone wolf, am a piece of poo. And I'll be very honest about that. If I'm left on my own, I'm not a great person. So I depend on Christ. And I think because I had Christ in my life, I was able to get through these things. Some of the things, especially when I was a young adult, I didn't have Christ. I didn't really come to Christ immediately in life. I did when I was really, really young. And then I kind of made my own choices. But I think all kids have some sort of understanding of who Christ is. But I don't, I'm not all over the country or all over the world. So I don't know. So yes, I've had a lot of things. So I've got to mention one to talk, because if it's okay, I'm going to tell you the story of the Big Bang, as I like to call it. Yes. So, and like I said, I do use laughter to cope with things, because laughter is healing, right? And I'm not laughing at myself, I'm not laughing at other people, but that helps us move past it. Okay. So when I was 26, my father passed away. That was pretty hard. It's a big one. I went through divorce a year later, whatever. Okay. My children were born at that point. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Fast forward, my 30th birthday, because I know how to have a party. My best friend, Ashley, and I decided to go to a festival that they have in Johnson City, Tennessee, which is where I grew up, called Blue Plum. And it's a music and art festival. You can drink in the streets. Kids are there. Bands are there. It's fun. And it's free.
Wow.
So it usually happens on my birthday. Anyway, so we went. My mom was there with us. My little sister, Mamie, she's 19 years younger than me, so she was really little. She was like 12 or 13. I was turning 30. So my brother was there. My other sister was there. And we were having fun. My mom, my sister, my brother, they all left. And it was just me and Ashley. We decided to go into a bar and have a drink. We went into a bar that I knew the owner. I was friends with the bouncers and the head of security and the bartenders. I knew everybody because I'd gone to college downtown Johnson City. And I'd also worked in downtown Johnson City, different places. And I knew a lot of the people. And I hung out, Anyways, so we went there, and then we went to another bar that I didn't frequent very often. And while we were there were guys that were very persistent on buying us drinks. And it was not like us to turn down drinks. Not that we were like, give us all the drinks. It's just like, if somebody was being nice, we would. But for whatever reason, me and Ashley both felt that, no, we don't need it. But they were so persistent that finally we were like, sure, whatever. And we were right there with the bartender, too. I should probably add that. We were watching the bartender. So they gave us the drinks. We were at the bar. 15, 30 minutes later, I realized that they had put something in the drink. And it was GHB, which is the date rape drug. If you listen to other podcasts, I have a horrible reaction to it. The normal reaction is that your brain shuts down, but your body's still awake. Your mind's still awake. It's just almost like in a sleep mode, and your inhibitions are gone and loosey-goosey, okay? My reaction is my body goes like limp noodle, but my brain is totally functioning and aware, and it sucks, okay? So we're at this bar, and I realize it's happening, and I write a note to the bartender. Okay, that's important. And I say, hey, this is the number, call it. And it was my mom. He never called her. My best friend says, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. That's a trademark for her. She always has to pee. So we're on our way to the bathroom. On our way there, friends of mine that I hadn't seen in a while, because everybody comes out for this festival, right? They're sitting at a bar top table, not a bar top table, but a bar table. It's just a little round table with the 2 chairs will fit to it. They come, we walk past and she goes, hey, Tess. And I was like, oh, hey. And my best friend goes, hey, because she's wasted at this point, and she falls on the table and it breaks, okay?
Wow. By
the way, she has no recollection of that. The people that were sitting at that table, I could call right now, and they still have recollection of that. She has none, okay? I get her to the bathroom, and I'm like, we got to get out of here as soon as we can, Ashley, because my legs are going to give out, and we're up a bunch of stairs. I don't want to fall down the stairs, okay? And she's like, okay, whatever. We get out. We get to the bar next door. By this point, I had called a taxi. They were coming to pick us up, okay? And my best friend, Ashley, owns a house in downtown Johnson City. It's about a mile from everything, mile and a half, 2 miles, whatever. Anyway, so we go to the next door, and I say to the bouncer, who's a friend of mine, hey, watch her. Do not let her leave with anybody. We have a cab coming. It's this cab company. I am going to the bathroom and start puking, and I know, and I can't hold it back. Do this. And he says, okay. And I said, if you don't hear from me, I'm not going to lock the door. So if you don't hear from me in the next 10 or 15 minutes, come get me. The next thing I remember is being picked up out of the floor. Okay. I had puked so hard, I think I'd passed out. Okay. They take me out front. I'm disgusting at this point. I was in the floor of a bar bathroom during a festival, and I was puking. Okay. They bring me out front, and Ashley goes, let's go. Who we're going with is here. And I'm like, that's not who we're going with. But I can't even get my mouth to move. So it's all like, Now my brain's going, I'm talking. I am rational. I am human. But coming out is, okay, because my motor skills are gone.
But you had already tried to put the steps in place to make sure you guys were okay.
Yeah. So these guys were the guys that bought us the drink. Isn't that weird? What a weird prediction. So they walked us about 4 or 5 blocks, 3 blocks, whatever, to apartments that are above different bars in downtown Johnson City. And they proceeded to gang rape us for hours. And beat the fire out of us. And I was out of it enough, but I was fighting back. And because I fought back, they went harder on me. I lost so much hair. I had to wear a wig for the next 6 to 8 months. It was brutal. And then they were finished with me, and they left me for dead. They did video it, and I know that because of the police investigation later on. But they left me for dead in the bottom on the floor of the bathroom of their apartment, or apartment. That's all I know. So this is going to sound crazy. I hear myself. But what woke me up was my dad had really thick hands. You know what I mean? You know, like man thick. Like it looked like a slab of meat, you know? And I saw his hand on the stone tile in front of me. I'm trying not to cry. And he hit the ground and he said, sis, you got to wake up. You got a lot of work to do and you've got kids. And I remember pushing myself up off the ground and setting up and trying to breathe and collect myself and look and realize how I was messed up. I saw myself in the mirror. I knew that I was messed up. I mean, there's not another word, but I looked fucked up. I looked like somebody had beat the shit out of me and I had makeup all over me where I'd cried. Eyelashes were gone, you know. My hair was all to pieces, and my clothes were ripped. So I see the door, and I'm standing myself up, and I'm, God, please help me, please help me, please help me. You know, you pray, and I go to open the door, and it's locked, but I'm inside of a bathroom.
That's interesting.
So I'm banging on the door, and the door opens from the outside, and when it opens to a really big loft-like apartment, and it's a huge party. And I'm not saying these were bad looking guys, okay? I think that was one of the things that really screwed with me and Ashley was they were real good looking guys, which is even more so like, why wouldn't you let them buy you a drink, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you took all the guys I ever thought was attractive and put it in like 10 guys, that's what they look like. They were, you know? Wow. Anyways, I start walking through and this party starts separating like Moses in the Red Sea, and I'm walking through, and finally the guy's apartment that I was at grabs me and he pulls me out in to like right before you walk out the apartment door, and he tells me, you've fucked up my apartment, you bitch, you stupid slut. If you wouldn't have fought so hard, we wouldn't have been so hard on you. I'm gonna have to get some cleaners to come in here. Get the fuck out of my apartment, and shuts the door and locks it. And I just start walking around this apartment, like inside of an apartment building, which is, you know, just odd in itself. And I don't know where I'm going. I see an elevator. I get in and I hit G. And I knew that it went down 4. You know what I mean? I knew I was on the 4th floor. So I get down and I see the door to the outside world, and I go for it. As soon as I do, the door shuts behind me and it locks. And you have to have a key.
Code to get
a code
back
to
in.
get it. Yeah.
And you're still inebriated or not?
It's not like inebriated. It's like your brain. My brain was functioning, but it's foggy, and my body. It takes everything in me to make my body move. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a tranquilizer kind of thing. Okay. And what you're going through in your brain, you're like rational enough to realize that something's not right. But I was in such pain physically that the week following, I couldn't sit on my butt. So they didn't just vaginally or oral rape me, they sodomized me as well. It was an ordeal, okay? And I do want to talk, I'll explain later, but they don't know how many people there were, okay? Because of all the police testing, I had to have my mouth swabbed for DNA 3 different times because they couldn't figure out which one was my DNA. Wow. So I'm out there and I realize, oh God, I don't have Ashley. I don't have my phone. I don't have keys. I don't have my wallet. I don't have nothing. And I can't get back in. And I feel very defeated. And all of a sudden I hear people walking and coming. And I hid in the bushes more because I was scared that to be seen. My clothes were ripped. My boobs were out. My skirt was ripped. I looked like a hot mess. And they luckily were going into that building. So I picked up a rock or something heavy, and when they opened the door, I slid it in as they walked away so I could go in behind them. I went in behind them. I knew I was on the floor. I went in, and I really I don't know how I knew it was that apartment because I don't remember going in, but I knew it was that apartment, and I opened the door. It was unlocked. So let's say that all this happened at 11, 12 o'clock at night. It's probably 4 in the morning by now. The sun's not up. Mm-hmm. So time-wise, I probably had enough time for most of that drug to run its course. So anyways, I opened the door, and when I was being pushed out of the apartment, I saw a set of golf clubs. And at the time, I thought it was a 9-iron because that sounds like a big, ball hitter, hawker, whatever. Anyways, but now I know because my husband plays golf, it was a driver. And I picked up the driver, and I just started beating this shit out of the walls and rubbing my blood on the walls because I was bloody. I mean, I'd been knocked the fuck apart. And I start screaming, take me to my best friend, take me to Ashley. If y'all don't take me to her in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna burn this place down or bring her to me. I mean, I was losing my mind. And this big buff guy comes up and he's like, you need to calm down. And this guy at the back of the party goes, I know where she's at. I'll take you to her. And I was like, I want to see her now. And the buff guy tries to grab the golf club out of my hand, and I just rack him. Like it's not grab. He tries to act like he's going to grab it with one hand and he's going to punch me with the other, and I just racked him right in the nuts. I mean, he hit the ground. And the guy, he's like, don't hit me. He's like, just leave the golf club. And he said, I'll take you to her. I promise. I won't let anything happen to you. And I remember him saying that because I was terrified. I was shaking still. So they get me out. And he takes me to another apartment, and we walk in, and Ashley's there, and she's in a very compromised position in a way that she would not have passed out on her own free will. And I'm like, wake up, Ashley, and she's not waking up. And I pull her to the floor, and I start doing CPR because that's all I know to do. And all of a sudden, she starts coughing, and she wakes up. She's like, hey, where's my bra? I've got to pee. And I'm like, of course you got to pee. And so I start looking for a bra. She goes to the bathroom. She's like, where's the bathroom? And he said, oh, it's down the hall. Now, looking back, I know now that it was his apartment. Okay, I did not know that. Okay. And I didn't know, at some point when you're going through brutal rape and things like that, your brain shuts down and you know it's happening, but you don't necessarily know every person that's doing it to you, okay? So she goes to the bathroom. He goes, you owe me one. I said, what? He said, you owe me one. And he bent me over, he threw me over the couch, and he raped me again. And he finished. I mean, clearly it was pretty fast. Ashley peed and came back, and he was done. And I mean, I do think she was groggy and slowed down, but not that much. So that happened, and I said, you'll take me to get my belongings, my phone, everything. So he takes me back to the main apartment that me and Ashley had been at and been raped at. And I said, I want my stuff. And when they said, here it is, they had my driver's license, Ashley's driver's license, my social, and my boy's social, our insurance card, all laid out. I scoop everything in one scoop, put it all in my purse. I grab my purse, I grab Ashley's purse, and I grab my shoes, and we get out and we walk. 2 miles. What is it, about 2 miles? Y'all ridden the ride with me?
A long walk.
About 2 miles, no shoes on. Ashley's out of her mind, no bra. I'm holding her hand, trying to get her. We get there, our keys are gone. Okay, we can't find them. And there's no light, by the way. It's it's maybe 4:30 in the morning by this time.
Not a well-lit street.
No, it's not. So we can't find the keys to get in Ashley's house, which at that time I had a key to it and she did, it wasn't just. So I crawled through a fence and then through a dog door in the back of our house to get in. And I came in and opened the door. And I get Ashley to bed and I curl up on the couch and I contact a friend of ours who was a male and I say, hey, this is what happened. I did it thinking he would have my back and he would go confront these people like, what did you do? Why'd you do this? Because we had seen these people around town, but we had only seen them around town around this guy. But that wasn't clicking yet. And this is important, and you'll see why. So he showed up at Ashley's house. He said, I'll stay with you, and I'll take care of you. And I fell asleep. I said, okay, I'm just going to sleep here on the couch because I really don't think I can walk to Ashley's room. I was hurting. And I lay down on the couch, and he raped me. And he left. And I curled up in a ball on the floor, and I said, I'm not going to sleep till I talk to my mom. And the next morning, some point in the morning, I hear Ashley on the phone. I hear her phone ring, and she goes, hello? And I'm like, she's like, I don't even know what happened to us last night. I don't even know where our bra is. And I was like, get off the phone. And so I start telling her what happened. She's like, there's no way I broke a table. And I said, I'm calling my mom now. I called my mom. She said, retrace your footsteps, call people, get information, see if anybody saw these guys, yada, yada, yada. I'm on my way. My mom gets there. She calls my brother. She calls my sisters. She calls Ashley's parents. And we all meet and they say, we're calling the police. And we call the police. And I go through the process of that, rape kits and things like that. And, and I said, my mouth was swallowed 3 different times to see the DNA. And, and the police took it from there. But I think that was, I've lost my mother and my father. I've gone through a horrible divorce with my ex-husband, and he was an abusive spouse. I watched my mom go through horrible marriages, and some of them were physically abusive, and she, was put in the hospital. I think out of all, I've had horrible car wrecks that I should have never walked away from. I survived cancer. I can continue to go on. That rape was the most, and here's the crazy thing. When I lost my virginity at 15, it was rape. But that rape, being kidnapped, drugged, and raped, was the hard, and beaten in the mix of it, was one of the hardest things to overcome because I didn't want to leave my mom, my kids, or my house again. Mm-hmm. And anybody that knows me, that is not who I am at all. So it took a lot of therapy and a lot of, patience and caring and Reiki and energy healing and prayer and depending on God. And before you knew it, I was back at what we do. And only by the grace of God. So I don't know if it means like whatever you overcome is your superpower. Because I don't know what my superpower would be then.
I would say that your superpower is being relatable. You can now help people that have been in these positions in such an amazing way. You can get on their level and be like, I have been where you've been, and I can show you what life looks like on the other side and how to get there through God.
Well, I will tell you, I was terrified to go to Walmart after. It was about 4 days after the situation. And my mom said, hey, I'm craving this kind of pizza. Let's go get it. And we get there. She said, you want to run in to get it? And I said, and I couldn't get out of the car. And she's like, don't worry, I'll go get it. And I could see there was an anger about her when she said that. And I was like, why is she mad at me? And then I realized she's not mad at me. She's mad at them. Yeah. So there was a lot of things, like it took me a long time just to be able to, let alone to be in a normal functioning relationship. And I am so grateful that I have that now. And thank God my husband is understanding. And because I do know, here's the bonkers thing, ladies. And I don't know if you know guys like this. There are guys that like, oh, she's been raped to that extent. I don't want anything to do with her.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is going to sound really crazy. So my 37th birthday, I was like bound and damn determined I was told a long time ago, I don't know if this is true, but some STDs can lay dormant for 7 years. Okay. My 37th birthday, 2 days before my birthday, went and got a pap smear. Everything came back fine. And I was like, thankful.
Wow.
It's one thing to make bad decisions and get an STD, but when you're at that capacity and you're getting, Anybody that gets, you can't help that.
No.
Right.
So I was very thankful, very happy. It's almost been 10 years. And I have told the story in forums and places, but never to this extent. Like this is
Detailed.
very detailed. It might be too much for you guys, but
No.
I do want to put it out there that we want to know what your superpower is and what makes you a superhero. And if you don't have one and you're like, I've never overcome things, let us know. Let's talk you through it. We're there for that. That's what we're there for. And know that you don't have to have overcome cancer or rape. There are so many things, like things that I can't even begin to fathom, that I can't even speak of, that have happened to people and clients of mine and things like that. That I'm like, I don't know how you're surviving. And they're like, me, look at you. You know what I mean? So you can't, it's really hard to gauge. Everybody's
They're
different.
not comparable.
Yeah. No, absolute trauma is not comparable. And it should never be. And nobody should ever think that they have the ability to compare trauma with anyone else. But please let us know, guys. And you can find us. That's kind of abrupt ending, but you can find us on Facebook at somesayimgifted@gmail.com. Oh, wait, that's Facebook. Some Say I'm Gifted. Then you can email us at somesayimgifted@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram on Some Say I'm Gifted and X on Some Say I'm Gifted. And Morgan's not my boss there, so I can do whatever I want.
The reins are loose.
Yes, absolutely. And please like, subscribe, comment. We love getting feedback, negative, positive, indifferent. If you do it where it's public, we will give you a shout out.
Yeah.
And if you don't want a shout out, we totally understand. We get you. Holler at us either way. But we love you guys. Please let us know what you think, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Love you guys.
Love you. Have a good one.